Kupiansk turns into a battlefield hell for Russia. Ukrainian drone technology crushes Moscow's assault. Kupiansk, a strategic city in eastern Ukraine, has now become a symbol of Russia's military failure. Over the past few weeks, the battlefield in this area has changed dramatically, not because of tanks or heavy artillery, but due to modern warfare technology controlled remotely. According to the latest reports from the front lines, Russian units deployed to Kupiansk have suffered severe losses. Out of hundreds of troops sent into the area, fewer than 100 are reportedly still able to fight. Many have been trapped, isolated, and cut off from supply routes. This situation is no coincidence. Ukraine is reported to have created what military analysts call a smart kill zone, an area fully controlled by networks of drones, reconnaissance sensors, and armed ground robots. The invisible corridor of death. Instead of facing traditional defensive lines, Russian forces entered narrow corridors that had been precisely mapped by Ukrainian forces. Every movement was detected. Every vehicle became a target. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones operate around the clock, sending real-time data to command centers. The moment Russian troops move, whether on foot, in armored vehicles, or attempting to retreat, armed FPV drones are immediately deployed. These attacks are fast, precise, and deadly. Footage from the battlefield shows Ukrainian drones flying low, penetrating trenches, and even chasing Russian vehicles attempting to escape. Within seconds, targets are neutralized. The January 20th assault, a turning point in Kupiansk. Russia's major attempt to retake Kupiansk on January 20th is now described as one of its most devastating failures in recent months. Russian forces launched a coordinated assault supported by armored vehicles. However, once they entered Ukrainian-controlled zones, the operation turned into a catastrophe. Ukrainian drones severed supply lines, destroyed support vehicles, and isolated Russian units one by one. Without air cover and with disrupted communications, Russian troops were unable to continue the assault. Many units were reportedly destroyed before they could even reach Ukrainian defensive positions. Ground robots and the future of warfare. One of the most striking aspects of the fighting in Kupiansk is Ukraine's use of armed ground robots. These machines can move through muddy terrain, carry explosives, and attack targets at close range without risking soldiers' lives. Military analysts say this demonstrates that Ukraine is now at the forefront of a modern warfare revolution. The battle for Kupiansk is no longer about the number of troops deployed, but about who controls technology, data, and decision-making speed. Psychological pressure on Russian forces. Beyond physical losses, the psychological impact on Russian troops has been severe. Survivors reportedly suffer from extreme exhaustion, paranoia, and constant fear of unseen aerial attacks. There is no safe place. There is no time to rest. Every buzzing sound in the sky could mean death. Several reports indicate that morale among Russian forces in this sector has sharply declined, with an increase in cases of troops refusing to advance to the front line. Ukraine's strategy reshaping the battlefield. Ukraine's success in Kupiansk highlights a major shift in its military strategy. Instead of passively holding defensive positions, Ukraine is forcing Russian forces to fight on terrain fully controlled by Ukrainian systems. This is asymmetric warfare, where relatively inexpensive but effective technology defeats a much larger military force. International observers are now referring to Kupiansk as a laboratory of future warfare, where new tactics are being tested and refined. Global impact and Moscow's growing concern. What is happening in Kupiansk extends far beyond Ukraine. Major world powers are closely watching how drone technology is reshaping the global balance of military power. For Moscow, this situation serves as a stark warning. Traditional strategies based on troop numbers and heavy vehicles are proving increasingly ineffective against modern drone-based warfare. If this pattern continues, Russia may be forced to undertake major changes in its military doctrine. What comes next? A critical question now emerges. Is Kupiansk only the beginning of a broader transformation in the Ukraine-Russia war? If Ukraine can replicate this strategy in other regions, the battlefield may be permanently altered. Front lines will no longer be defined by trenches and tanks, but by drone networks and artificial intelligence. One thing is certain, Kupiansk has sent a clear message to the world: warfare will never be the same again.